Here we go. Hey, folks. We're live tonight.
I do.
Hopefully the quality is a little bit better. I'm hoping. Yes, I'm actually wearing glasses tonight. I hate wearing them, so don't even comment on it. I don't want to talk about it. So,
he's an old man.
I don't want to talk about it. Make sure I on camera still here. So a little bit better quality, although I still haven't gotten the problem solved with the quality control. We should be at like 720 or 1080p if we really...
Yeah.
I don't understand why the cameras won't go at those levels.
We've sent a note to Manicam.
Manicam, if we respond anytime soon, we can fix this. Okay, so here we go.
That's through.
Hey, folks, welcome to this episode of the GalaxyCast. I am Bob Crispin, your host, and I have with me, as always, Eric the artist.
Delightful to be here.
I have Austin the numpty.
Bazinga.
And I have Gary the stud.
That'd be me.
So we have lots to talk about tonight before we talk about the one episode of Star Wars Rebels. That's right, we're only doing one tonight. It's just like, it's kind of weird to do a one-off tonight. It feels odd. Like, there's no double episode going on here, so it's kind of weird to do just one. But I'm kind of liking that. You know, hey, we're up to date.
We're caught up. We're good.
Yeah. We don't do that often, so.
No.
We like to be ahead or at least on cue.
I'm always on time. There's lots to talk about in the world, so I thought we'd start with the most current and work our way back. So there was information just released on Force.net today. Of course, this is all conjecture. We can always, but this is the rumor. And by the way, spoiler alert, so if you don't want to know the rumor,
I was going to say that.
Like, fast forward a good, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 minutes, I would say, into the podcast
At least,
here.
yeah.
Spoiler alert.
Okay, so here it is. It was reported today.
Vader is Luke's dad.
It was reported today that a Clone Wars character is going to appear in Star Wars Rebels, and it's not just any Clone Wars character.
And when you first said this, the first thing that shot into my head was going to be, well, it can't be Mace Windu.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
I thought it would be Rex.
it can be. He'll be showing up with his robotic arm. We discussed this.
I thought it would be Rex.
Could
I
be
honestly
Rex.
did. I thought it would be Rex. I thought Rex would show up, he's on an off-world planet or something.
Right.
Still alive. But it's not
Where's
Rex,
Captain
folks.
Skywalker's
It's
dinner?
it's
Kid
Ahsoka Tano.
Is the rumor.
As Gary calls her, the Asagi Towel.
Yeah, so I can tell.
Poor Ruth had to listen to that for years while she was costuming the character.
And I
He
think
was
that's
like,
why.
Asagi Towel.
And I think that's why she stopped.
She's going to supposedly be, Ahsoka is supposedly going to be Fulcrum, and I think that's more of the actual spoiler here.
Yeah,
that she can actually
that's
be
big.
Fulcrum. That's the huge one. I mean, it's an interesting connection
For all those
Ahsoka
audience.
being Fulcrum, because she may have some inside information that other people wouldn't have, so that, to me, that's interesting.
For all those viewers that don't really know who Fulcrum is, you might want to explain it.
Well, Fulcrum is the secret operative they keep going to in Star Wars Rebels,
Right.
and
Providing
providing information,
Yeah.
valuable information, keeping the Rebel Alliance going. So it's interesting. I like the twist. It would be interesting to see, and they're also hinting that Vader and Palpatine are going to be in Season 2 of Rebels.
At least in the first episode.
At least in the first episode. Which I find interesting, because remember, Gary, when we first found out about Rebels, they had said there would be very few and far between appearances of Vader or Palpatine. Remember they said that?
Right.
Well, they trilogy members, period.
Right, they said, almost little to no trilogy members, period. And then when you look at, even just within the short amount of this first season that we've seen,
Lando.
we've
Yoda.
seen Lando, Yoda, we've seen Vader
Briefly.
briefly in
Added-
an edited version as an ad. So I almost kind of feel like they're lying at this point. I don't
Well,
want to say they're lying, but they're adding it in.
I don't know if they're adding it in, or are they just literally misdirecting. It's like people say, you can put the original trilogy. Like, no, we're not. And then it becomes a
And
surprise when it happens. It's like...
Surprise!
just like the original trilogy will not come out in 3D. I guarantee it's going to happen.
I mean, here's the
next year,
thing.
too.
What if they wanted, if they wanted these things to be enjoyed by people, they're not going to admit to it when someone asks.
This is true. This is totally true.
But
So-
duly noted in the episode when Vader comes in, they're going to have James Earl Jones, classic Vader, voicing him. Yay. I
Right.
hope they have Ian McDiarmid come in for Palpatine.
Well, I don't know about that, because
Cosmic
McDermott's
Focus.
how old now? He's 89, 90, something like that, right?
They could do it.
You think you could do it?
Well, he used to
it'd
sit in
be-
a chair.
Yeah, it'd be interesting. I'd love to see him have him do it, but it would be interesting to see if he could. Now, somebody brought up on the comments here on the Force.net, which was something I was kind of like, whoa, I didn't even think about that, is what if Ahsoka runs into Vader. Like, how
Yeah.
is that going to
Dun, dun,
affect
dun.
Anakin? I mean, that's a huge play in and of itself right there, too.
And to really speculate, what if we're finally going to
For the first time.
Ahsoka's ultimate.
True, too. That's the other thing they brought up that I didn't think about. Could this actually be the ending of Ahsoka? Which
Yep.
It would add some depth to this series that it's been needing.
Yes, I agree. And actually, it would add some angst that series has been lacking. Although I think this episode tonight
Was pretty good.
started to add a little bit of, I don't want to say angst, but a little bit of character to the episode.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
And we can talk about that when we talk about the episode. But there definitely was some character added in here. Okay.
So yeah, that could be interesting if they bring her in. But then it talks about we're not sure who's going to voice her.
Right.
Well, wait, no, the French.
Well, there's rumors that it's the French chick. It's interesting because Ashley Eckstein hasn't said anything.
Nothing.
About anything. And I thought that was kind of interesting that she has anything recently involved in any projects or anything. And there's the other that's been caught my attention. There was a website called iQuiz reporting that J.J. Abrams has asked Disney to consider moving the release date for Star Wars to earlier in 2015 rather than their slated December 18th release. Abrams is basically claiming the movie is pretty much in the can, and that they could move the date. That would be a big move, I think.
Very. I mean, that'd be some major schedule rejuggling.
Yeah. Well, and like somebody pointed out here in the comments, and I think it's right in the article. You know, can you imagine if the tie-ins aren't ready? You know, like Disney's not ready to release toys,
Right.
so we'd have another 1977 Star Wars when the movie comes out, but there's not toys in the shelves for.
They could
2-3
have
months.
the Episode 7 cardboard backing,
Right.
which will be where all the figures will eventually go.
Could you imagine the clamoring for that if they created that in this scenario? I mean,
Mhm.
oh my goodness! Like, holy cow!
You would
Everybody
have
would be clamoring for the card back of that thing.
You'd have a riot.
Seriously.
On your hands. You'd have a riot on your
I
hands.
don't know.
Yeah, I don't know how much I can trust this though, because it says, "Oh, this is from the mouth of Abrams himself," but it just says that there's
Right.
not an actual. There's
Right.
not. I don't see the actual name, and most of all, there's no video. If this was at an
Right.
industry event,
And I normally not report on rumors like grabbed my attention it was all over the internet.
yeah, I saw it everywhere.
That it was like everywhere. It was Facebook, it was Twitter, it was like everywhere that this is supposedly, and actually I heard it's actually creating a little bit of a rift between J.J. Abrams and Disney. Slight rift. But, I don't know, maybe it's not a smart play on J.J. Abrams.
Again, I don't know how much to believe it all. You hear all this stuff so much.
Well, and Abrams is kind of a drama queen. I wouldn't be surprised to be creating a little bit of this angst just to get people to clamor to go, yeah, bring it out.
Right.
And then be like, oh, well, we're not going to bring it out, but we'll bring a small clip of it out during the Avengers. Age of Ultron.
Or, San Diego Comic Con.
right, something like that, yeah, to get
Stuff
people
we all planned on doing
anyway.
anyway.
Right? Oh, look at that! Part of the movie is going to be shown at Celebration 7.
Really?
Oh, look at that!
I'm hoping.
Because
So-
you're going to be there and you're going to go.
I don't know if I'm going to be there yet, people. This is not. It's not a confirmed. Although there is.
You're speculating on
I am.
it.
I am having a presence there, in
Yes.
terms of other things.
Even if you aren't physically there,
If I'm not
your-
physically there,
your presence will be
my
felt.
presence will be felt. But I'm hoping I'm physically there.
Yes.
To be creating.
It'd be awesome
artwork.
to physically see you there.
I'm.
Although I am saddened that I will not be there with you.
I know.
Yeah, Anaheim, California is way
Ain't
too
gonna
far.
happen. Especially with my daughter going to college next year.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then me after that.
Well, we don't know about that.
Yeah.
Hey!
We'll see how that works out.
Yeah.
That may play out yet.
The
Watch
first
it.
one gets to go. The next one is
Yeah.
digging ditches.
Yep. Yeah.
You go to the free.
Oh, come on. You're not going to do that.
Last one I want to kind of.
And now in legal news.
I feel like that's where we're at, right? Well, this one I thought it's picking up steam, and this could be an ugly moment for LFL, and they've had some ugly legal issues in the past. One was about the Stormtrooper armor, right, Gary? Because is that lawsuit still going on, or is that lawsuit over now?
I have no idea.
I forget if it is or not. LFL was suing the person who had the original Stormtrooper armor because they recasted the armor. I mean, they had to. Somebody had to do it in order to make new armor. And supposedly LFL figured out who it was in England, right? It was a guy in England.
Yeah, and I think the United States copyright stuff doesn't
apply
in England.
In England, but the argument was, well, it actually does because it's a U.S.-based film, so therefore U.S.-based laws would apply even though they're in England. There was all sorts of international problems. And they've had some other issues in the past, LFL has. Well, Lucasfilm has filed paperwork in California. They're going to subpoena Image Shack.
That's right, folks. Image Shack.
Image Shack.
Yeah, not Radio Shack, because they're going out of business.
Yeah, I saw they filed Chapter 11. Image Shack because they leaked the picture of Kylo Ren. Now, it's kind of interesting. That picture of Kylo Ren we actually saw earlier when we talked about all that artwork that we saw. Right. That was something that came up. And I found that interesting only because, I don't know. To me, it just doesn't make sense. So I'm gonna show you real quick here what image they're talking about if you're looking at the actual film. So they're talking about this image here.
Which we're right now breaking the law and Lucasfilm is going to sue us.
Yeah, whatever.
And we're getting hate mail from everybody.
If it's not on Image Shack, it's now on this one, Inside Indie Revolver, and it's on like how many millions of websites by now. That's the thing I don't understand. Why would you do this after the fact? This doesn't make any sense. If you're going to do it, it should have been done the day it happened. You thought you would have gone to the court that day. Why are we waiting until what? Almost 6 months later? And then go after it.
So what they're doing is they're subpoenaing. They're sending a subpoena to Image Shack because they want Image Shack to release who posted the.
They won't release the IP address of the person who actually.
And Lucasfilm wants to actually prosecute the leaker. Just know who the leaker is.
Well, here's the deal: the leaker had to be somebody inside.
Oh heck yeah!
It had to be somebody inside. So I think that's what they're really going after is who's the inside person who's been releasing information from the inside.
Right.
Because that person's going to be fired.
Well, beyond fired, they're gonna face some legal issues.
Well, not only that, but they're going to try to fix this problem.
They're going to probably be blacklisted, whoever it is, and they're going to be fired. Donald Trump style. You're fired. Sorry.
Okay. I mean, I get what you're saying, Gary. They're going to try to keep it from happening in the future.
Right.
Because they've got a lot of projects coming up. Which brings me to my last point. Rumor is that they have released some information about the spin-off film.
I don't believe is right. I think this one's been confirmed.
This is almost, it has been confirmed to a partial extent. They still want movies about, which I find interesting, but they'll release in it. It doesn't make any sense to me. So Felicity Jones, the girl who plays, is it Felicity Jones? Is that her actual name? Yes, that's her actual name. She will be playing. It's been guaranteed. Can't confirm this. That she'll be playing Ren, film for the Star Wars movie franchise. I still don't know how I feel about this. I had mixed feelings when I read it the first time. I was kind of like,
Wait, what were you like?
This one, sure. I don't know if I can do that again.
One more time for the audience.
The reason I say that is because on multiple levels, all right, I think it's a cool idea in that we're going
right.
Okay, I get it.
You mean Clone Wars?
Well, it's Rebels actually, Star Wars Rebels, because Sabine's the Mandalorian and Rebels.
Right. Okay, gotcha.
I like Sabine's armor, and that's my concern. Use her armor because to me that's not Mandalorian armor. Don't you agree? I mean, there's at least from the viewpoint that it is not standard Mandalorian armor, and to me it doesn't feel like Mandalorian armor. I don't know.
Well, I agree with you, and the first thing that went through my head was, why?
Yeah. I mean, I guess
the person who ever wrote the story is trying to poke fun at all the Mandalorians because it's basically a custom made. It's basically what you and I do, but they did it instead doing splatter painting instead of a color scheme.
It's not a custom mando because it's canon.
No, it's canon, right. Custom mandos are canon. So, technically, Sabine would be canon. Technically, she could be a member of the 501st. I don't know. Has the 501st changed their policy about that? I've never looked.
She's part of the 501st and Rebel Legion right now.
I would think so. Right?
I think so anyway.
But I mean, it's to bring her in. Why her? I don't. There are so many other. Although Gary, you have an interesting.
This could hint at perhaps elements we're going to get in episode 7.
Correct.
That right now it seems like not a good connection or pretty tenuous. But a year from now, we might all be going,
no,
there's a reason
Yeah.
why they're going with that character or that storyline or the Mandos in general, that there's something that be heavily...
Well, I am wondering, like, are all the spin-offs going to have a Star Wars Rebel character in it? That's one thing you think, like...
That'd be tough, though, because this thing has to have a life, really long legs to it, to make it that long.
Well, I think Disney plans on making this thing have some long... I think they're going to force it down our throats whether we want to or not.
Disney's going to plan on making it
I
last
agree. They've got
for-
work to do if they want to make it last. But
it's not Clone Wars still.
No.
Disney.
I agree.
You are. I know you hang on my every word. Rebels is
Well,
not Clone
Dave
Wars.
Filoni is sitting right over there. So
Dave,
it's, you know.
Rebels is not Clone Wars.
No, wait.
And I wasn't super happy with Clone Wars to begin with, but I grew into it. It got better. So I'm willing to give Rebels a shot. And please take off the damn hat.
Why? Jealous that you don't have one?
Yeah.
No, I guess.
10 penny
Yeah,
hats.
I give it to Fedora.
Oh, I'll take it. Okay. Me and Dave are besties now.
So, speaking of Dave Filoni, Gary,
Dum, dum, dum.
you had an interesting theory about... Well, you had a revelation this week. Explain to my listeners. the
And people,
revelation.
because this is Dave talking, I have to officially call it spoilers.
So, Gary, go ahead. When you said it, I didn't think about it until you said it. Honestly, I never even thought about it.
Well, I can honestly say I might have some hope for Rebels,
Yeah.
I guess you could say. Because I know at least 2 characters that should die.
I like how you put that. Should die.
If they don't, then they're retconning the whole original trilogy.
Right.
And that's the 2 Jedi in Rebels.
Yep, that would be
Kanan and Ezra.
Although I like your theory about Ezra better.
And it's definitely Kanan. I heard him call him.
Kanan? Okay.
Ezra said it in the episode today. He's like, Kanan. I was like, okay, I got to remember that.
Yeah,
Not Kanan.
it's not Kanan,
Which I
it's
prefer.
Kanan.
I pronunciation Kanan. It sounds a little cooler, but
Yeah.
it's Kanan.
Maybe we're referencing the Bible again. Cain and Abel.
No, that's Cain and Abel. Cain and Abel.
Joking. Okay.
Clever.
I'm gonna That's what I'm going to start with.
Well, the one guy called him Kanan.
We need to start calling him Kid and then the
So-
Doctor Who dog just go across the screen.
No. There is a possibility that only one person of the 2 that are supposed to die can go to 11. And that would be if Ezra becomes the Sith that lights the lightsaber in the woods.
The one that
Ezra
everyone hates.
is Kylo Ren.
Yeah, Ezra becomes Kylo Ren, which I think is actually that. When I was kind of like, dude, you got to be.
Bring up a picture of Ezra. Sorry, people, you can't see this at home, but we're going to
Actually,
keep
he
talking
can.
while we do this.
Actually, you can make him something.
Well, you can see it on YouTube, but people just listen to the podcast to see, obviously, what we're talking about.
Sorry, people
And I want to
at
see something
YouTube.
side by side.
And you can find us at
First picture of Ezra.
Oh yeah, I'm working on it.
Internet stuff.
Internet.
Well, and it is trying to run video and audio and the internet all at
Yeah,
once.
it's
I'm asking my little computer to do a lot here.
But yeah, it's basically what you're saying on this is that because in the original trilogy it is very clearly stated that there are no Jedi left.
Right.
Luke is the last hope. No, there's another. We know the famous line. There's only 2.
Yep.
That's pretty clearly stated that even Yoda knows there's only 2.
Yep.
Where would these 2 be in the trilogy? So, or at the start of it anyway, or pretty close to it, if I'm correct, right? This
Yep.
is at
Yes.
during so
Just as the rebellion's taking
these
hold.
these guys all have a limited lifespan if that's gonna be the case.
Yeah.
Or they gotta. There is the crappy way out of, well, they stop being Jedi.
Right.
You know, they're not full Jedi. They give it up. They whatever. You know, they could always go some stupid route like that. But I agree with you. If you're going to stick with that canon statement, there are only 2, then that's a valid point.
Yeah. Here's our picture of Ezra.
Okay.
So,
Now, bring up a picture
okay.
of the guy playing. That one guy from Girls. Who is in
Adam Driver.
Adam Driver.
Adam Driver. Okay. Let me see if I can find that.
Take a good look at Ezra, folks. Take a good look at that nose.
Well, does it match Adam? Oh.
That, to me, can look like
Ezra.
an old Ezra.
Yeah.
Go back to the picture of Ezra if you can back up.
I think I can.
I mean, it's a little darker, but the size of the nose and everything.
I'm looking at just the facial look. You know what I mean? He's got the same facial look. Gary, you
But
might
look
be
at this
onto
picture up in the
something
upper corner. Bring that picture up. The
Which
one,
one?
it's just right above it. Just click right on. Yeah, that one.
there. That one right here?
Look at the nose. He always has had a very prominent, very long nose that's
Yes.
thick.
Yes.
You look at Adam Driver, he has that same facial features.
So maybe what you're saying is maybe
Don't
they
press
used
forward
Adam
button.
Driver as the, I don't know, the
If
base.
they're saying this all out,
Used him as the base
Yeah.
to create Ezra. I mean, you can see it. I mean, this one especially.
Yeah,
that
even
one
the hair,
almost just like, wow.
the proportions and everything.
That is actually phenomenal. Gary, you may be onto something here. Dang it, Filoni. Why do you always leak all your stuff all over us?
So yeah, look at the GQ
Leaked it all over our podcast.
Look at the GQ one right above.
Now, would you rather me?
Look at that.
Oh,
the
yeah.
hair and everything.
Oh, look at that. I mean, that side facial, that is like Ezra right
it looks
there.
a lot like Ezra.
Oh, wow.
So,
Wow.
folks, you be something going
It
on
may
here.
be amazing here at the podcast studio.
Hey,
Either that or
I'm
it's just
sure-
an happy coincidence.
And you know
we're all
what? I
wrong.
have to be honest, Dave. There's a chance that a lot of people out there have already thought of this,
Oh, there's a
but
possibility.
I haven't heard it yet.
Right, I haven't heard
And
anybody say
I
this.
certainly haven't seen the side-by-side picture comparison, which I think we should throw up on Facebook tonight
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
and see what
we
people
should.
think.
Yeah, I'm telling you. Oof. There's gonna be somebody at LFL tonight going, "Crap, they found it. What do we do?"
and that was my expulsion for 5 days.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, I have to admit, I don't talk about weather like ever on our podcast. But good night. We live in Hoth now.
-2
By the way, we
degrees
live in New
outside.
York. For people who don't know, okay, we're in upstate New York. I hate it when people think I'm from New York
I
City.
know. I love that thing on Facebook, which
New
is
York, New
it shows
York.
I'm from New York, and they go New York, and they show New York City. You go New
No,
York, and they
and
show
for the
the
rest of
mountains
New
and
York.
the trees and the hills.
So we're from upstate New York, and it's like Arctic tundra out there. I mean, seriously. I go outside, my chairs go, no,
Back inside, back inside.
run. You know, it's really bad when you start your car, too.
We have not had it as bad as like Boston.
I agree with you.
4 feet snow.
Yeah,
no.
we have like
Well, not the
Boston or
snow.
Buffalo or
Buffalo got hugely
Not
hit.
the snow,
Right.
but
But
I
the cold-
still
it's cold.
say we're colder than some of those places
Maybe
right now.
we're like,
I
right,
really
in the,
do
we're like
think
right in the heart of where the cold. When
Right.
the cold air comes down,
Dad,
it always
we're kind
hits
of in the
us.
center of it.
It could be worse. We would have to cut open a tauntaun.
Well, they do smell better on the inside.
I think I actually cut one open this past.
Yeah, you might have, just to survive at your job.
Because you guys work inside,
Yeah.
outside all day.
I'll admit, I'm lucky I work inside.
And then there's Gary in the parking lot. I thought they smelled bad. On the outside.
No, after huffing and puffing for
Yeah.
about a half hour.
How awesome would it be right now if you had like a giant fake tauntaun? Just go lay on the side of a highway with its stomach cut open. And someone goes by like, oh, someone got stuck here overnight.
He didn't make it to the first mark.
Yeah, and you're standing with a lightsaber in your hand, and
Right?
fast the cops should call.
And there's an idiot that's probably going to do that.
I know a couple of officers would probably arrest you just for that, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we talked about a lot. That was only 22 minutes, but that felt like forever.
Yeah,
but we
well, we
talked
did a
about
good job.
so much
And
information.
we may have stumbled upon a
I think
enormous,
that's huge
enormous
what we
thing.
just
It could
stumbled
be.
upon. Driver connection, that may be huge. So
It could be.
that'll be on Facebook tonight. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I see what people say. Somebody's going to kill us at LFL. I could see it already.
So
And
here's the
we're
problem.
getting
This is
hate
why
mail. It's gonna be like-
you got to post it. I can't post it because no, you're not coming to celebration.
Yeah, yeah.
Because then
There's going to be somebody like, wipe them out. All of them.
and he's sitting in the
Bring it.
emperor's chair. And he's sitting in the emperor's chair, and the guy, and then Ian McDermott gets
Yeah, I'll have to change my chair to the Emperor's Throne chair
Yeah,
over
do
here.
that.
Yes.
Fear. Use
Well,
your
you
anger.
can get the Emperor's Throne. I'll take the Game of Thrones.
There you go. Yeah.
What do I get?
I'll be like, use your podcast.
Yes, use your podcast.
I
for
do
raid.
believe this podcast will be quite operational when your friends arrive.
Okay, we're getting bad. We need to take a break, folks. We'll be back in a moment to talk about the latest episode of Star Wars Rebels.
Okay,
I gotta find the
Dad.
stop button. There it is.
I gotta get my
Dad,
phone.
you forgot to put the brisk thing up.
Yeah,
it
no, it's
doesn't
okay. I don't think anybody at home who's watching the video is offended.
when is Brisk giving us money?
Is Brisk giving us sponsorship and money every time we put this thing up? You want me moving it or no?
Yeah, go ahead. I don't care. So again, people with video at home, we're taking our break. We have to do this occasionally, or we go crazy.
Or you can't talk.
We had to take a break. And
Well, we go crazy anyway. Hey, can I have one of those root beers here?
Yeah.
Me too.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
On it. Dirk.
Thank y'all.
Yep.
Now we're all gonna be talking like this. So, this episode of Star Wars Clone Wars or Rebels.
Come on, we gotta pop in like 5 or 6 of them, then we can talk like the Godfather.
It's really bad when you two are
Have
on
you
the
seen-
same level.
Have you seen the SpongeBob SquarePants commercial?
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
Which one?
Well, the one where they're like, if we eat all this cotton candy, we could be awake for hours.
No, you could run around the world.
Yeah, you could run around the world, and your eyes get all starry.
Mm.
All I could think of was like you and I.
Ooh,
No, that's somebody that was high on crack.
I'm hearing music.
Yeah. Is anybody important, Austin?
585.
Nah, don't shout it out. Is
5,
it anyone important?
1 1.
know. It's his wireless caller and it's from Rochester. 585.
All right, let it be.
615.
Ooh,
555 33.
Call having their annual sale. I had to pick up some chalk.
What's the number on the love 635? I was in the.
8375609.
That's one 837. Somebody had that phone number. I felt bad.
Oh, they did at the time.
I got like a million phone
Yeah.
calls.
Jenny, who can I turn to? Gotta love the 80s.
Poor idiot. See, this is what happens when we're not on air. Should I get rid of my desktop one now?
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah.
That's kind of fun, though, actually.
Oh, yeah.
To be able to flip to that. Thank you, Minicam.
he's gonna be bad.
It's gonna sound awful.
Yeah.
It's like Star Wars. I mean, Star Wars the porno.
Oh god. If that becomes that, I'm leaving. I'll go upstairs and sit in my room for an hour.
I think anyone who's not currently talking, stay back from the mic.
Do you think there'll be a Star Wars Rebels the porno?
Probably not, and I really don't know.
I'm sure there already is if you go looking.
I
for
bet,
it.
yeah. If I searched it, I'm sure.
This
it's
is
out there.
it is the law of the internet that if you can think of it somewhere,
there.
it's
It's,
there.
it's out there somewhere. It's just
Well,
hiding.
what I liked about the Triple X Star Wars movie
I'm out.
I can't admit that I actually watched this, so okay.
is that they actually bought and made the armor from the 501st.
Yeah. There you go.
And-
And implicate the 501st in it, yes.
Yeah, why not? And they built a life-size land speeder.
Yeah, Lance Peter.
Wow. So I got a question.
Yeah.
Does that make this show canon?
Oh, God. See, I can't even talk about that, so
Yeah.
I like my job.
I like my job. We're trying not to get hate mail, but I think everybody on YouTube right now is going to get
Lies,
us hate
lies, tell me sweet little lies.
Okay, here we go.
mail. And we're rolling.
And we're back, folks. And
Ruining
we're gonna
episode 7 secrets for you.
We're going to talk about this episode of Star Wars Rebels titled Call to Action. I think that's the one, right?
No,
Yes.
Vision
No,
of Hope.
That's right.
Nope,
you're
that's
right.
next
That's
week.
next week's.
That's not wait.
Ladies and gentlemen, next week's called the call to action.
Take two. This was Vision
Marker.
of Hope. call to action is next week. I'm excited about that one. That's why I'm okay. So,
Anyways,
basic gist: we start off the episode with Ezra being tested as a Jedi yet again.
and this time he's deflecting blaster bolts. Which
I liked
kill
this
him.
scene. I thought it was kind of funny.
It was okay. I was impressed that everyone in the team would just shoot at him so readily, going, "Well, he'll be okay.
He'll
He'll
survive.
deflect all these."
There's thumb shots anyway.
Still, the fact that there's so many of them, and even Chopper, who I thought was
yeah.
kind of funny, was
He was
shooting
he was
away.
blasting along.
He was like blasting away. and the big Wookiee type guy, I always forget his name.
Zeb.
Zeb. He was like
Zebralius.
he was like having fun with it. He's smiling and like patting people on the back.
How come we didn't see that coming?
I know, right?
Yeah. Wait, I think it's just Zebra.
And in the process of this whole thing going on, he has a vision.
Of
Now-
love. No, there wasn't a vision of love.
A vision of love. He had a vision of love.
Was it a Vision Quest?
No, it was not a vision quest. But
Was
he
it
had
an
a vision.
Intellivision?
ColecoVision?
Oh, even better. That was
Oh, there we go. So he has this vision of a senator, a stormtrooper. I mean, like, the more he's having the vision, the more I could think of was like Anakin and standing in front of the Jedi Council, a ship. A lollipop,
Right.
like something like that. I don't know why, but that just kind of like
Yoda's,
came to mind.
Yoda's head on a pike. He was not betrayed.
So he has this vision of the senator and stormtroopers and all this kind of stuff, and of course, immediately we come back into the reality, and he's like, "Oh, I must have missed every shot and gotten stunned."
I got stunned, didn't I?
And apparently, no, while you're having your vision, you're like Jedi
Yeah,
Supreme.
you're like Superman.
He deflected every shot and aimed them all right at the Stormtrooper helmet.
It would have been kind of cool if they would like rewound that, like and showed him deflecting every shot, just to show you what that looked like.
in
But,
super slow mo.
although
That'd be too Matrix-like.
Aww.
the stormtrooper helmet was kind of fried, right?
Yeah, I had a bunch of
Yeah,
shots.
never
If they were
really.
using stun shots, wouldn't that have not have really affected the helmet? They just knock it down, I would think, right?
However,
I don't know, maybe I'm wrong.
in the later portion of the video, he has like the blaster on his gun. I don't know if it was set the stun or not, but he shot at the storm, two of them, and knocked them over.
Yeah.
So maybe the stun gun actually hurts them.
Who knows?
Yeah.
So,
It has to do with the armor.
yeah.
If it gets hit with a stun, it kills you.
They're using super thin.
Apparently, some of the 501st armor is not good. It's
No,
too
they're
thin.
using they're using super thin, lightweight Sintra. That's
you
their
go.
armor.
So, anyway, he has this vision.
It's ABS.
It is ABS plastic. It's not Sintra, bud.
Oh.
So, he has this vision. He goes back to Kanan. I think I'm saying that right now.
Kanan.
Yes.
Okay. And tells him he has this vision. Of course, Kanan immediately tells him, well, people have visions. Basically, suck up and deal.
Yeah. He's a great teacher.
Oh, right.
Visions
Suck
like
it
not.
up.
What was your vision? Tell me the details. And nah, visions happen.
Yeah. I don't believe you. That's pretty much what he got, too. So he decides to go and watch the latest broadcast of the senator. And-
Travis.
Travis, yeah, Senator Travis. And
sounds
him and
right.
Hera and pretty much everybody sits down and watches this thing.
Mm-hmm.
And Hera is convinced that every one of his broadcasts have some sort of coded message in the next planet he's going to be on. So he mentioned what? Lothal. Something about the Jedi chambers, right?
The abandoned
Well,
Jedi.
no, he mentioned. He mentioned.
the old Jedi, the old Republic.
Yeah, it was.
And
He
the New
mentioned the. It ended up being a reference to a mural that's painted in the Senate building.
The old
So
Senate
you
building.
knew that he was going to be in this room where the mural was because he referenced. Everyone called the mural the
Yeah.
New Day or something like that.
And it was happening at sunset.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there was all this, like, he gave everything. The time, the place, the where, the how, the why. To get
All encoded.
basically
Yeah.
get a hold of him. So he becomes convinced that the senator wants to meet up and help them out. So they decide to have this plan in place to go meet the senator.
However, first, Kanan sends Ezra off on a mission to make sure he knows everything that's going on. To see if the Empire knows, if not.
Right. So Kanan goes off world. Well, not off world, I guess. Just off on his own for a little bit.
No, it's Ezra, not
Or
Kanan.
Ezra, sorry.
Yeah, because
And-
at least Kanan had the smarts. If they had just gone for it, I would have been like, eh. But at least they said it. Someone goes, well, we're not the only one who might be able to figure this out. The Empire might have
Yeah.
figured it out too.
We better make sure they don't figure it out,
Yeah.
But he's tell Ezra before he leaves says, "Meet me at my old parents' house and I'll meet you there.
Right. So Ezra takes off, and he goes to meet up with one of his buddies from when he was in the
Training
Imperial
Academy.
Academy,
Which
was kind of a cool reference again.
What episode was that?
Now, was that the one who was standing in front of the Inquisitor last
Yes.
we saw them?
Yes.
Yep.
It makes me wonder.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Which I said, like, it was an interesting, it was an interesting reference because that's what makes the rest of the episode, I think, even more speculative because
Right.
of what happens after that.
Right, right.
Agreed.
So he goes to him. Now notice, I don't think there really was much of an exchange about the situation, was there?
No,
Well,
I mean,
he's-
he's saying his buddy there said, there's going to be a plan to do
Callus
something
is
at the
Callus is-
Senate, the old Senate and all that, and he's like, oh, it's going to be a trap. And it was enough for him to find out that there was going to be a trap. And then it ended interesting because right about then, Ezra was about to admit, my name's not what you think it is.
It's
Right. Then
not
all of a sudden, the
blah, blah, blah.
stormtroopers arrive.
Yeah.
So
And those-
Ezra ends up going on the run, trying to cover his tracks a little bit so the Imperial stormtroopers can't figure out who he is, and he kind of escapes.
I want to know how he
guys-
got up that wall.
His acrobatic abilities, he bounced from each of the crates and then just did a Jedi
gonna say a
jump in the
force
corner.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say.
I think he did a
Force
Jedi
jump.
jump and
I
bounced
think
off the
I think he
walls.
jumped up on the crate and force jumped his way up.
I'd like to
you
have
know.
seen it
I agree with
because
you.
it would have been a moment of increasing ability.
Right. Another experience that he would have had that he didn't have before,
Right.
prior to that point. So he escapes. He goes back to his parents' house where he meets up with the rest of the crew.
The crew's discussing something like an old
They're talking about his parents, is what they're talking
the
about.
system that they had that he was.
They used to
Sorry.
do pirate broadcasting.
What was
That would be my son hitting the microphone if you
Sorry,
were
I
curious to what that was.
Yeah.
So, anyway, it's still ringing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah, wow. You really did a number on that one. There we go. Thank you.
Sorry.
So,
I accidentally hit my finger. It's my
he
fault.
meets up with the crew at the house, and they decide that they're going to enter cautiously,
Yeah.
I guess is the best way to put it. And they decide to, the next day, is it the next day? I guess it's that night.
That night, yeah, sunset, whatever, because he
They-
met them at 7 and then...
Yeah, they decide to not just go straight for it, they decide to use the sewer system
Right.
to
No,
enter.
not to the next day because there's a sunrise.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
So he says basically, "Follow me. I know the way in. I've been in the city for 8 years without getting caught. So, what's
So-
the difference?"
And then Zeb goes, "Ooh, what a wonderful smell you found."
Yeah, and
Gee,
know.
that sounds familiar.
get a little of that
And I just-
flashback.
you know, we did that too in the Clone Wars. Remember, we used to quote things in the Clone Wars, and you'd I'd be like, "Really? Here's the lame quote of the week." Remember, we used to do the lame quote of the week. Here it is. I'm getting worried that we're going to have to do that now with Star Wars Rebels as a lame quote of the week. So
At least
anyway,
you don't have to do the Great Sage.
well, hey, easy. I liked the Great Sage,
Oh.
considering I was the Great Sage. So anyway, we get into the sewers and we go and find this place. And I thought it was interesting that droids are guarding
Yeah.
this
he has-
senator supposedly.
The senator has 4 of them, two
Yeah,
two
they're
outside
like
guarding the ship.
C-3PO style droids, basically.
Actually,
with
they look
pikes.
more like those guard ones that were in the city, the cop droids.
kind of,
In the
yeah.
Clone Wars series, like particularly the
It
episode.
looked like a robot from Metropolis.
They did.
Yeah, they did actually.
They very much did.
You're right. So they do a force thing on the ship. The droids get distracted. They go back and they go into the old Senate building and meet up with this senator. And right off the bat, I thought it was kind of interesting that like they get in the door and they don't like question anything. They just start outright talking to the senator,
yeah.
like they knew the guy, like he was their best buddy.
Yeah, we've come
Hey,
to. We got your message, and we're here to
We're
help.
here to help.
We're here to help, but however, you're in danger because the Imperials know you're here.
Yeah.
And then
All
too
of a
late.
sudden, there's the stormtroopers and they show up. And it's not just the stormtroopers; it's
Callus.
Callus and the rest of the crew
Mu-
too.
Mr. Mutton Chop.
And
some woman.
in the meantime,
Who was the woman?
She
No idea.
was there for
Because
the
that's
one-
interesting. Because there was that scene earlier where he's looking at the map, and we skipped over that part where he's planning the whole.
Attack.
I'm going to come.
Yeah,
in
I'm gonna
and,
end this rebellion.
End this rebellion. And
not
he's-
just the Jedi, but the actual rebellion.
He actually
so.
has a moment, and I think maybe it's an important moment of foreshadowing, because I mean, that was the entire scene seemed to focus around the fact that he said he thinks the Inquisitor is going about this wrong and is too focused on the Jedi,
Right, that's right. You're right.
and he's going to focus more on the rebellion itself. By doing that, I'll get the Jedi.
so you almost get
However-
the impression that maybe there's going to be a fight between the two of them, where
rift.
Callus is a rift, where Callus is going to be going for the Jedi specifically, and
No.
sorry, flip flop that. The Inquisitor is going to be going after the Jedi specifically, and Callus may just be going after the entire Rebel concept.
It's almost becoming a Tarkin Vader relationship in a way. It's like there's
Yeah.
the one who's the political and he's going to be doing this, and then there's the one who's all about the Sith ways and
Right. And trying to push down the concept of the Jedi.
right.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. There's something there about that.
However, oh wait, lost my train of thought. Never mind, continue.
However, your brain is shut off. Okay. So,
Sadly, I'm sorry.
we continue on with the storyline, and in the process of all of this stuff going on, we basically also see who's the Mandalorian?
Sabine.
Sabine and
Zeb.
Zeb. Thank you. So that was all hand motions.
Yeah,
So that
for
works?
those at home, he's every single
Yeah,
time
he's
he's
like going like this, and they're going,
we
"We're
see-
looking for you."
handshake with his thumb.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
This
Zeb.
means, yeah. Sounds
Hello.
like. So the Mandalorian and Zeb, they go off, and they kind of disappear.
And
So
you know,
they-
just as a little side note,
yeah.
I think that's symptomatic of how we feel about this series.
I keep
Think
forgetting
back
the
when,
characters'
when we
names.
were into Star Wars, even the prequels, you knew the names. Like immediately they stuck with you. You remembered them. And why is it, this is a group of 5 people or 6 people. Why are we having such a hard time? Like,
I remember certain characters' names. Like, I cannot forget Hera, and I can't forget Ezra, and I can't forget Kanan. But it's like the rest of the crew, Chopper, I remember just because I think he's cool.
he's, yeah.
He's
But
like
the rest of the crew,
anti-R2.
I keep forgetting. I keep forgetting the bad guys' names. I'm not sure why, other than Inquisitor, just
Yeah.
because he looks cool.
I can't remember any of them.
Really?
There's the Inquisitor.
I just...
Oh, I called the Inquisitor the Executioners.
Oh, yeah.
Sure you
Earlier.
did, yeah. I don't know. There's something about... You're right,
Oh,
Eric. There's
I-
something about
I
them that just
remember.
don't grab our attention yet. I don't know.
We just don't care about them.
Maybe that's part
That's
of
the
it.
bottom line.
I haven't made an
have
emotional
not.
connection.
They have not done anything for us to like these characters.
Right, there's no emotional connection
Not
to them
enough,
yet.
no. We've had moments that,
Yeah.
like, oh, I could see where this could.
And I think that's why I remember Hera, because we've had one emotional episode with her, with a connection with her. We've had an emotional connection with Ezra, with his, crossover to the dark side. Those other characters, we really haven't had many moments with them.
Yeah, like
I think that's
Kanan,
part of the
I need more from him. He is
Yeah.
he's too,
flat.
yeah, milk toast.
We need a little bit more backstory on
Just
some
plain.
of these
He needs. I know what they were looking for was they were looking for a Han Solo Jedi. It's his look. He's a
Yeah,
cross.
like a mix between the two.
And
yeah.
he is not Han Solo.
No.
He has not. He doesn't have that swagger. There's no swagger to him. It's
No.
very. He's almost like an English teacher or something, you know. And you're just like, okay,
And all my English teacher friends are now writing emails to me.
He's very plain.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because even as a Jedi, he doesn't cut it for me either.
Well, he
Yeah.
can't seem to do well as a Jedi. He can't fight the Inquisitor, very well. So he's not a tough Jedi. He's
He doesn't seem to do well as a smuggler.
no,
because he
I
keeps
mean,
getting caught.
Yeah.
And then they're
He's-
running
he's-
on chases.
I want to see more. I remember that clip we saw when we were first looking at the previews for the Clone Wars, and it was the one with him and Hera and the ship firing the guns and arguing
Yes.
with each other back
Yep.
and forth and the bickering. And I'm like, oh, this is a great, cool relationship. This could
Right.
be really neat. Obviously, they're into each other, but at the same point, they're fighting. And he's got that. He had a little bit of swagger in that, and then it's gone. I don't know
Yeah.
why. He's just too plain.
It seems to have disappeared. I agree with
Well,
you.
what I see they're doing is they start building up a character, and then they don't know what to do with it. They drop the ball.
Yeah.
Seems it.
Okay.
Or I almost feel like maybe they've been screwing up and all the episodes are out of order again. They just don't want to tell us that, I don't know.
They don't want to say Filoni screwed up.
So,
Anyways, on another side note, that particular woman's been in
I keep doing side notes.
It's been in another episode.
There was a couple episodes she's been in before.
Yeah,
The
she
one where she is in the weird blast.
I wonder if she's just like a
hates-
local magistrate that, you know what I mean, like just hands down
Pops up
orders
out
or
of
something
nowhere.
like that. You know what I mean? She kind of seems to be a go-between a lot.
But why don't they just come out with a badass female officer?
Well, that would be cool. I think that would grab people's attention.
Well, they had. If you ever played the original Force Unleashed, they had.
Well, I
that
think that's what
one-
he's trying to get at.
Eclipse.
Yeah, what was her name? The blonde
Juno
hair chick.
Eclipse.
Juno Eclipse.
Juno Eclipse,
It was,
yeah.
it was a good character. and,
It was a
you
good
know,
character. I mean, it was a cool character.
Yeah.
It grabbed your attention. And she was hot. I mean,
Yeah,
that
she
helped
was.
too. So anyway.
And of course, my father has just shown how much he cares about a video game when he only looks for that.
Well, that's why I play Resident Evil too. You know, Ada Wong, man. Anyway.
And Dad's getting hate mail from every woman in the earth.
No, they love me. No, they love me.
Yeah, right.
So anyway, of course they do, because Gary's with me.
That's right.
When you got the stud, you don't need
Exactly.
anything else.
Can't go wrong. So, going on with the episode,
Ashamed.
they get cornered, and
Again.
somehow They fight their way out of this thing.
This comes back to the problem I have with every episode. I can't wait until there's an episode where I don't have to say this. The choreography is awful. They're surrounded in a central room. People start firing like mad. No one hits anything.
Anything.
They don't hit the good guys. They don't hit the bad guys. The good guys can hit all the bad guys really fast, but the bad guys can't hit anything. They don't hide behind anything. Nope. Well, they're standing
although
around.
there was a good smoke screen created, at least that was semi-believable. They at least threw a smoke screen
Still,
out.
it's like they didn't move, though, so you know where they're standing.
I got a real good idea for Disney to do.
What's that?
Fire their Disney Illustrator people and hire back the Clone Wars guys.
I mean, you might make a valid point there, Gary. These illustrators, you can tell, have never handled action scenes. I mean, serious action scenes. If I were to guess, I bet you got the same people doing this that do Avengers Assemble. Or the Spider-Man series. Or, I'm trying to think of some of the other... Hulk Agents of Smash or some of their other...
Lilo and Stitch.
Maybe even to say I would be willing to bet. But if you watch, I mean, I don't know if you used to watch the Avengers, right? At one point you did. I thought
I just saw the Dark Avengers episode.
Yeah, you did. Okay, but don't you think sometimes those action scenes are a little like awkward and forced?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And I get the same impressions. I'd be willing to bet they're the same illustrator from one to the other. I'm serious. They have the same feel to them.
And again, there's moments. Like the throwing the spinning blade that cuts right through a TIE fighter. I mean, okay, cool. Even in this episode, and I think we all saw it, when Sabine came sliding out of the room and Zeb caught her and pulled her aside because the explosion went by. Yeah. Good moment. Okay, that was well played.
I even kind of chuckled at that. It was kind of funny.
And they worked together. Right. It's like, we need that.
Not only did he grab her, but he pulled her in. He kind of tapped her on the helmet like,
But at the same time, I didn't quite understand why she kept sliding away from him.
She didn't make the turn.
Yeah.
She was just kind of running and...
She ran, and instead of turning like everybody else did, because it's like a dome shape, she started to slide off the dome.
Okay, that's what I didn't understand. Was it an incline that she was sliding down?
I think it was.
I think it was.
The shot was too
But
close.
again, there's the bad... I'm going to say it. There's bad drawing there. It didn't look sloped, so therefore it didn't look like
Not to mention, you could have gotten it from like a better angle if you were back a couple inches and angled it so that the explosion was a little bit further back.
Well, if you just backed it up a little bit to show the slope, I think it would have been fine.
It would have been fine.
Because that's why I didn't understand.
Yeah. So anyway, they get away from the Empire miraculously, of
Stormtroopers
course.
can't shoot crap.
And they
go back into the sewers.
Yeah, they come back out. The ship they wanted to get is gone, and in its place is a shuttle. Now, again, a Lambda-class shuttle.
Does nothing.
Does nothing.
Floats there as they shoot it.
They shoot at it with a little pea shooter, for crying out loud.
Oh,
seriously,
the shots
it was like a Nerf gun against a freaking Lambda-class shuttle. Nothing. And they run, and the Lambda-class shuttle doesn't even shoot at them.
No.
Stupid.
Oh, come on.
So...
You didn't see the guy leaning out the window shooting him? Pew, pew. Yeah, exactly.
No, he was actually, they were trying to get the windows down. The power windows were broke.
Yeah, okay. Yep.
That's where they cut that scene out, but it was an important one. He was pushing the button.
Actually, what it was the Cleveland Brown R2 was in the back going, "That's how we do it here, bitch." I guess that was PG-13. Sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, this episode of the GalaxyCast
is brought to you by the rating of R.
Yes.
Anyway,
since that show's been off, I haven't even thought of that show at all anymore.
What's that?
The Cleveland show.
Oh, the Cleveland show.
When you said Cleveland Brown R2 shooting, all I pictured was the football team.
Yeah, that's where I went first until you did the voice.
Oh, okay, all right. I was not thinking like that.
And we're getting hate mail now.
You see what I do? Sorry. This is what I do. So anyway, they don't shoot at all. They go down into the sewer tunnels again. They start getting chased by the stormtroopers.
Again.
And meanwhile...
Cleanest sewer tunnels I've ever seen.
Well, yeah.
Well,
but supposedly they smell.
There was an explanation that because of rationing, that caused that.
Yeah, there's no water in them, but still they should be... I don't know.
Piles of dung.
It should be, yeah.
I bet if we had smell-o-vision, it'd be a bad experience.
Although there was one good line where she said something like, "Oh, it smells as bad as you," and Zeb goes, "Hey," and she goes, "No, I'm talking about Ezra." And he goes, "You know what I smell like?" I actually thought that was a pretty good line.
Yeah, with one good line.
Well, that's a throwback to Austin after being in costume for an hour.
Oh, come on. I'm not that bad.
It's one of the reasons why we didn't take it in. It's one of the reasons why we didn't take it in New York Comic Con in armor. Because Gary and I smelled like an arm put sideways. We couldn't imagine what you were going to smell like after 12 hours in armor. Remember we got the
12 pounds water weight until every
Remember
time I
we-
put that costume on.
Come on, our costumes didn't even fit us after that.
I just remember we got in the car. Gary looks at me and I look at him, and we just gotten everything off. We both go, "Whoa!" and we both put the windows down like right away because it's just like. There must have been green gas in that car. I'm telling you right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the dark, seedy underbelly of costuming that
Costuming
you
it
don't
is.
normally hear about.
You don't want to hear about it, trust me.
And there's not enough deodorant to wear.
No,
I mean, I
no,
never really
no.
followed Heroes of Cosplay, but was there ever the episode where they took it off and like, oh my god, I stink?
Not really.
Yeah, so
Especially
really-
spandex.
yeah.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Spandex or those big rubber suits that
Yeah.
people. I'm telling you, they're the worst.
Oh,
They're the
crap.
worst.
Oh, I remember the word for those. I don't remember what
Rubber?
they're called. No, the suits you're calling them.
Rubber.
No, there's.
Oh no,
Saying it.
rubber.
Rubber.
I remember.
Morph Man. They're called. If you go to Party City, they're called Morph Man suits.
I'm telling you right now, every time someone can't think of a word,
Rubber.
in this show from now on, they're gonna be, oh yeah, rubber.
I remember when you were at Dragon
You're
Con,
welcome.
a friend of mine was dressed as one of the aliens.
Oh god.
Oh, yeah.
Was Xenomorph?
Yeah.
From okay.
All right. The costume he made himself was all made out of rubber
Oh god.
and
Rubber.
spandex. And
I'm never gonna live this down.
Mostly
he was
rubber.
in it for over 8 hours.
Oh god.
He came in, he took it off, and you could just see the water just pouring out of that suit.
Oh yeah.
From the sweat that he
Did he do the parade in it too?
Yeah.
Oh, good night.
Oh. I feel sorry for this poor.
And
So
then-
he didn't need to do the actual slime effect.
Right,
It all
it was
drips
just
off.
coming
and
right
he was
out of
just coming out.
Exactly.
He should have
Imagine-
put little sleuth gates that could have let it out.
Yeah, he should have.
Could you imagine the women that were hugging him for the pictures? Like,
Yeah, exactly. and that's the thing. That's what they did the rest of that night was get pictures with the girls and all that. And they were all grabbing hold of them and everything else.
Yeah.
And a couple times when I was with them,
Gary's like, would you like a towel?
"Eee." Want some hand sanitizer?
Still
So
not.
anyway.
It's still not as bad as when your dad goes up to as Malakili over to the slave Leia picture, and they all scream.
They cheer for me.
Yeah.
What's your point?
I turned away and ran.
They love me. They love me.
That's because the stud was with you.
It's my kingdom. What can I say?
Absolutely.
Anyway, so they go into the sewers and they split up to try to basically throw off the stormtroopers. Of course, they're not throwing them off.
I don't know
And
why they're worried because these stormtroopers could walk up point blank, literally touch the blaster to their forehead, pull the
Still
trigger,
miss.
and miss.
yeah.
It just
So
Matrix.
so they split up. The senator goes off with it's Ezra Hera.
Hera,
Is
yeah.
it just
And the
Ezra
rest
Hera?
and the rest of them are going the other way.
Yeah, they all kind of the rest are all running
So-
around elsewhere.
And I saw the sad part is, did anybody in this room not see this coming?
See what coming.
Betrayal.
I saw it coming. Like from
So
the
what?
minute. The minute that Hera turns around, hands him the blaster, I knew the senator.
Well, I knew she was pulling a John McClane.
Well,
there.
yeah,
It's giving
yeah,
the
it was
empty
total-
gun. Yeah.
Yep, and Austin can get that now. Okay, he just giving him the gun to see if she's actually gonna use it. Is he
Right.
gonna use it against me? Because you could tell Hera was the wheels were turning, and of course he tries to use it against him and basically
Goes-
tells them he's been with the Empire the whole time.
The last of Ezra's vision comes true, where he saw it as a positive because the guy was saying your parents were very brave.
Right,
Now
it
we
was
see the
the-
continuation
as
where he
a
says
negative.
And very foolish.
and very foolish.
Right.
And they're gone.
So he tries to shoot him. Of course, that doesn't work, and they
click. What the?
they find out the senator's betrayed.
He's
the
been
rebels.
working. He's been working with the Empire, and the whole rebel cover is really just
And
to
of
draw
course-
people out.
And he's basically an Imperial spy and has been the
Yeah.
whole time.
And of course, Hera does whatever everybody else in this scene wanted to do. Deck him.
That was awesome, though. Having
Yeah,
the females
I like when she
deck
pun-
him and
I like
put him
when
on
she
the
punched
He
Yeah.
just
ground.
looks, and all of a sudden he sees a fish, and then that's all we see, and
That
he's
was
on the
cool.
ground.
And the fact they changed camera angles for that so you could see
Yeah.
the fish going right at him. That was cool. So, she decks him.
But come on, Austin, you could have took this guy. Because
Yeah.
after all, he looked like Donuts and Harvey Korman.
I thought he looked
I
like
know.
what's his name there, Jeremy Niven or the old actor Niven. I can't think.
David
of his name.
Niven?
David Niven. I think
David
it is.
Niven?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
a
thought he
little
looked a
bit.
lot like that.
A little bit
bit.
like that, too, yeah.
Yeah,
I
especially
guess he looks like a...
What is with it in this universe that every time you see a photo of these people, it's a cartoon drawing?
I don't get
How
it
come
either.
there's no photos? It would look
Yeah.
like They do.
Right.
What?
Why does it have to be a cartoon
It was this
drawing?
way with Ezra's parents' picture. It was a cartoon drawing. This
It was with
guy's
this guy.
picture on the when he interrupted the
Holocaust.
Holocaust. It's not a
Yep.
photo of him. It's a cartoon.
Yeah.
You can even
Now, I'm a
tell
cartoonist. I like cartoons. Don't get me wrong. It jars me every time it happens.
Well, and it takes you out of the universe. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you talk about. Anytime you're taken out of the universe,
it's
you know,
an odd stylistic choice.
it is.
Because some kid of one of the lead illustrators is the one who's doing the cartooning.
And they have to include the kid
Right.
because that will be considered bullying if they don't.
My kid drew a picture of Travis. Okay, we'll put it in the episode.
All right, Johnny, we'll take that off the refrigerator. Put it in the episode. So anyway,
I have a point.
Oh, what's this? Johnny wrote a script for the episode too. Okay, that'll be in the
that's
episode.
oh, you look, you did all the blocking for that episode
He
too.
did the choreography. Okay, we'll let him. It's fine. Take the choreography off the fridge. We're gonna use it.
I figured it out again. Remember, folks, you heard it here first.
So going on. Well, we got to finish this episode. So we
Do we?
I know.
Do we really? Yeah.
We're
The
still
rest
ahead.
of the team
We're
catches,
still way ahead.
We're still way ahead. The rest of the team catches up. They realize they want to go through this fan, but they don't really want to stop the fan because then the Imperials could follow them.
Yes.
And
So
that's kinda
what do we
useless.
do?
You use the force.
Use the force, of course. Whenever you're in trouble, just use the force.
And this reminds
You know?
me of another moment in one of the worst sci-fi movies ever made, Highlander 2,
Okay.
if you've seen it.
Never actually seen two.
Unfortunately, I have.
Yes, where
Unfortunately, I
Sean
have.
Connery, his big moment
Yeah.
in the movie is to use his life essence to stop a fan for a few moments. So a couple people can escape a room and then he vanishes.
Okay.
And it's like the dumbest moment.
Is
And
it
I'm
bad
sorry.
that the only thing I could
every
think
time-
of was Die Hard? I think it's 2 where he puts the gun in the fan to stop it.
That's at least okay,
No.
but I mean, it's this.
that the first one?
Whenever
I
there's a
think it
giant
was.
fan
Yes.
in sci-fi, I'm pulled out. Giant fans in hallways in sci-fi is
Should never
overdone.
happen, yeah.
It's done. And why is it in the sewer? Is this a vent part of the sewers? Is it supposed to? Is it just blowing the smell out into the
Pretty much,
city?
yeah, making sure that everything gets churned up.
It's just blowing the smell around, that's all.
It's an air
No,
circulator.
Because everything's closed.
It's blowing it into a containment facility that's being taken out of the planet and then given to another, so that they have.
So of course,
atmosphere that
just as
stinks.
he's about to stop the fan, the
Everyone shows
stormtroopers
up.
arrive. Can't hit the broadside of a barn.
There at least
Again.
okay. There at least was a moment. They couldn't hit the. Why they weren't hitting the other guys, I don't know. But there was a very clear Ezra was protecting.
Yes,
Kanan's
and he was
back.
deflecting
He
the
was
shots,
deflecting
yes.
shots, which was a nice tie into the beginning of him learning to deflect.
Sure.
And blah blah blah.
So he's deflecting shots. The people go through as Kanan, sorry.
K9.
Stop K9. Yeah.
Kanan.
Stops the fan. Everybody runs through. He yells at Ezra to get through, and then he lets the fan go.
And Ezra takes a final look at the guy who knew his or
Right, he's a
remembered his
senator.
parents. He
Yeah.
remembered his parents' broadcasts.
Yep.
And it was a big
Gives him a
stare down.
disdainful look.
A big stare down.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, one thing we didn't cover was the stormtroopers were told to go.
Oh, the chopper sequence.
Yeah, the chopper sequence.
It's one of the best
cover
parts
all
of the whole
It is
episode.
one of the best parts. they were supposed to make sure all the exits were sealed, and Chopper's like at one of the exits, basically like marching in front of it,
Yeah.
trying to protect it.
They walk up.
They
They're
can't
like,
figure out the
who he
number of
is.
this
Yeah.
droid.
That's one of our droids.
So
He
they
can't even read its
they
number.
seal it up. Of course, Chopper the whole time's going, no, no, no,
he's
no.
like right next to him, waving his arms, going, no, 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 no.
Of course, his character is like,
I was actually thinking
shoe
that's
off.
really funny.
I actually thought it was
It's like,
too.
no, 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 that my
And
friends are down there.
notice they didn't even question the droid.
No, and then they're like, if you see anything, report it.
Report
Hit the
it.
alarm. Thanks. They walk away. I love it. They're barely out of frame.
They're
Pulls
not even
his
out of
drill.
frame.
Just starts cutting it open again. I thought that was pretty well done.
No, no, he
and the
salutes.
fact that
What happens first is he salutes them, then they leave.
He did a quick
He did.
salute. He did go.
and they leave. I mean, without even not even a heartbeat, just
I'm
beep.
gonna cut this back open, and it was a great personality moment. I felt like he had a personality there.
So that's what. There are times like that
Yeah.
that make me connect to Chopper that I
Yeah.
like.
He's
So
just
anyway,
like, yeah,
they get to this door. Chopper's still cutting away.
Oh yeah, and the lightsaber comes up and almost hits him.
All this is lightsaber. He goes.
He's upset.
Another good moment. They cut their way out. They get in their ship. They take off.
Well, no, they don't.
Oh, that's right. They don't take
They
off.
just leave. They walk out of town and go
They
back
walk
to
out
their
of
ship.
town,
which
right?
is-
Go back
somehow
to
they
the
can
ship.
walk straight out of town.
Yeah, I mean,
with
there's all
style.
this. That's the other thing is the Empire is all over crawling
Right,
around
trying
the
to
town.
find them,
and they,
so they never find them.
and they're back at the ship.
No,
The Imperials are down in the sewers still.
They are. They're still. They're
They're in the
still.
Still trying to get past that fan.
Trying to turn off the fan.
What did you know? Like,
Does
this
it?
is-
Does it
this
at
is
least have
the
a
non-
low setting?
This is the nonsensical part. Why not just blow up the fan? Like, seriously, shoot
shoot
the
it.
stupid thing, run through it, and run after them. A fan stopped the Empire?
Yep.
I mean,
The Empire's a
dang, Luke Skywalker could have survived if he just put a fan in front of Darth Vader and Emperor Palpatine. And stood behind it going, nah, 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 nah.
And it didn't have to be a huge fan either.
No, it could be a small one.
And it'd be
Yeah.
great 'cause
Just one of those floor fans.
I could just
you
see
know?
him standing behind it and like he's doing the thing with his voice. Look, Dad, I sound like you. see?
I can sound just like you. I am your father. There's one for Robot Chicken. I hope you're paying attention, Seth Green. We just gave you one.
I will watch that episode. Provided
All
one
right.
lets me.
I think we definitely got enough humor out of this episode.
back on the ship. The ending is basically he felt bad about his. Why did I not understand my vision? And he said because you put too much emotion to it.
Focus.
You lacked focus.
Lacked
And then he
focus.
sits down with Hera, and he's all upset because he's like, I really wanted to believe in this guy. And she says, you know, there's still good things that are going to happen. And I'm still being positive. There's going to be good things. And they end up
Yeah.
looking up the stars, hopefully.
And
Yeah.
she also admitted that she was hoping that he was the real deal.
Yeah, she kind of
Yeah.
wanted support.
Okay, so overall, we need to rate the episode.
Austin goes first.
All right, I was gonna say I've
darn you.
gone first a lot, so somebody else should go first. We'll have Austin go first. Austin, you go first.
Oh, jeez. I got to think. I want to say a 6.5.
Okay.
Oh, that's
The
high.
humor with Chopper was funny.
6.5, not 6.5.
That's
Just
high.
6.5. You think that's high? Okay. All right, go
The
ahead.
humor was funny. The stormtroopers need to really get accurate. Seriously, what are they training in training camps for? Nothing. Again, a fan. Why? Why just a random fan? It doesn't make sense. It's that stopped the Empire. There's it looks like there's a card thing up there. You can just go take up a credit card. Bleep. 5 minutes to have the fan stop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was one like a command console.
It looked like
for
a
that fan,
command
too.
console, and that's what they were going to hack before they got almost shot at by the.
Shut off all the fans in the detention level. It's like, come on.
Because he didn't have the top all that to shut it off.
Like that's the other thing I was thinking about. Like in the Death Star, okay, they've got the ability to go, close the blast doors, close the blast doors. They don't have a turn the fans off, turn the fans off.
Because this wasn't an Imperial
It's not.
area.
It is
This
their
is
own.
true.
They're in another
This
town.
is on Lothal, yeah.
So it is not there. I
And
mean, there's
I-
all that, but still, they should be able to shoot the thing. And just,
I know.
Come on.
Also have one point that really doesn't connect the story. How do they get to the ship? Do they just walk out of town gangster style?
Yeah. Yep. Do like
walk
Aaron and
out-
you walk around like you own it.
Exactly.
They just walk all the way out of town.
That's how we
The
got- how many
stormtroopers are looking at him going,
How many
we
times have
supposed
you
to
and I
get
just
those
put our
guys?
costume on, walked in, and been like, we own this place.
Oh, yeah.
What up?
no.
That's how you do it.
See, the thing is, nobody wants to mess with us when we're in
Here's
armor.
my theory, and it's a very funny theory. They're walking out of town gangster styles. All the stormtroopers are looking and going, are we supposed to grab those guys? Hey, that droid's ours. They're stealing our droid. Hey!
That's not the droid you're looking for.
Go away.
Okay, so Gary, what would you rate this episode?
A half.
Oh! Whoa!
Oh!
So what was the one positive thing you had?
The whole chopper scene.
The whole chopper scene.
Yep.
That's the only positive throughout.
Only
the whole
positive thing is
thing. Okay.
how many times you got to go into the store to get in the place or get out of the place?
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
You know,
What a wonderful
that's
smell
been
you
done.
found.
The stupid fan, like everybody else is saying.
The only thing that would have made it better is if there was a trash compactor in there.
Diet Nougat, all right.
Yeah, Diet Ogre, right, with a little eye sticking out.
You know. Then he introduced characters that have absolutely you have no idea what they are or what they're doing. Like that woman.
Yeah.
Well, and honestly, the
Imperial.
senator. I mean,
Yeah.
what was the point behind the senator? I don't get it. When you don't have a connection with somebody like that prior to, so like if we'd have been watching the senator do like a presentation every episode, either at the
Yeah,
beginning or
this
the end,
could have been something they could have
This could have
fed
been
through
something.
previous episodes. That when we finally got to this episode,
it would have made more
However,
sense. But it just
would have been better
to
on
just
it. Popped
suddenly
up once
bring this
before.
guy up.
Popped up once before. Barris. Oh no, the Luminari.
No.
He broadcasted Luminari.
Was he the one who would broadcast
Yeah.
that whole thing?
Yeah, but the thing
But
is, they should have had a lot more of these.
That's what I'm saying. You only
They
have
needed him.
one
And then
before
the
this point.
second or third season do this episode.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that would have been better because then by that point you really care
would have
about
had
the
a
character.
connection to
and if you
it.
truly believed it, I mean, this
Right.
fooled nobody other than like 5-year-olds.
I don't think it fooled them. I
No.
think kids would have caught on to it.
Yeah, you can't talk down to them. They
No.
they know.
No.
We're not idiots.
Especially if they've watched Die Hard.
With their evil
Amen.
little
Wait, did I just say
eyes that
5-year-olds
they
be watching
watch
Die
it.
Hard? I did not say that.
They
No,
probably
this is
have.
parents. We
They
have
probably
not
have. That's the sad
encouraged
part.
movies for children that are meant for teens.
Okay, I guess I'll rate it. I'm actually gonna give this one like a 2. It
Wow.
wasn't
I'm gonna
a
be
good
the highest
episode.
one here.
You are the highest one.
That's what I said. That's high.
That's high.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2. I give it a 2 only because the chopper situations were funny. There was some comical moments but again, it took me out of the episode in order to create that comical moment. It almost pushed it out of the. And the sad part is, I want this show
Yeah.
to do well. I'm like desperate to see something that makes me want to continue on. And right now, this brought me down again. I mean, after we've had some good episodes now, and in this one, just I don't know. Like, do we keep lowering the bar? Is that what we're doing? And all of a sudden, what would normally be a cruddy episode, we're like, woohoo! You know, like I don't
Yeah.
know. And this one brought it down again. I don't get it. I don't understand where Disney's going.
I'm just gonna have to lower my expectations for the show.
I might have to start doing that. I mean, you might be right, Gary. We might all have to start lowering our expectations. Maybe we're expecting too much from Disney. I don't know. Maybe we are. I can't believe I'm actually saying that because
I really think the
I had
problem
hope.
is they have this image in their head of what is appropriate for kids.
right.
And kids these days, and then the adults who are watching with them, are so far beyond.
Right. They're so much
that
more
level.
sophisticated than I
There's
think
a lot
Disney
more
thinks they are.
sophistication. They've got to sophistication. They got to play up to that. They got to
Yeah.
stop this base level stuff. It's just
I think it goes back to the Disney Channel itself. I mean, when you go back to like the Hannah Montana days,
Oh God.
I'm just being honest about this. Hannah Montana played to that generation. It was actually perfect. That show was perfect for that generation. The problem is Disney has not come out of that generation.
Right.
They're still playing to that generation. That's actually the generation before his. So that's like Ruth, and Ruth's on the lower end of that generation. And
Even then, Hannah Montana wanted to shoot.
well, yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, you were on the lower end. You were young when Hannah Montana came out. So
Sarah
to
was
me,
flipping obsessed with it.
you're trying to appease a generation that's almost 10 years older now. So now
Yeah.
they're in their 20s. And that generation does not want that style anymore.
Right.
This generation that exists now, they see that as hokey. Because
Yeah.
you're, like you said, they're almost playing down to you at that point.
Okay,
So-
can I add something? Disney has gotten to the point, and this is predictable in any other case. You have said this with Disney movies; they play it off. They find something good, they stick with it. It's like putting it on repeat. It's
Yeah.
going to be like that for a while.
They beat the dead horse, is what they
What
do.
I want to hear, and I would love if Disney's listening right now, change it up. Try something new. Try something completely different.
But go back to the original Disney cartoon movies,
Right.
Like Bambi, Snow White, and all that.
They were good.
They're dark.
They're dark.
yeah.
They're dark.
They're very dark.
good. But
When you think about like Snow White I mean, it's scary to a kid. I remember as a kid when I was young and I watched it the first time. That queen was scary. And you're right. A lot of the Bambi's pretty dark. I mean, for
Yeah.
kids,
When they show
that's pretty dark.
Bambi's mom laying in
Yeah,
blood.
yeah. I mean,
Well,
it's
Well, and then,
Why
then there's
not?
that sequence where the hunter puts her up and cleans her.
Yeah.
I think that's really, they went too far with that.
yeah.
Saw the head off, mounted it.
Yeah.
That'd been
But,
awesome.
but she's hanging upside down and she's been gutted open. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when it kind of went too far.
and we
Bambi's-
just took it to a horror story level.
You're gonna be steak now.
He's pushing her to wake her up.
She's swinging back and forth. So-
They gets on her, rides around.
This is why I do not work for Disney.
So,
And
Eric,
sadly, I will.
what would you rate this episode?
I'm going to rate this episode rubber.
Is that higher or lower than my
I don't know where that lands.
In this case, it's about a 4.5.
Okay.
Hey, I'm not the only one that wants
4.5 is rubber. Got it.
Well, rubber changes, but
Rubber change.
Oh God!
It's flexible.
What's the temperature? Because it could inflate or deflate.
There you go. Yeah.
it's all the things we said. I really need them to
Rethink.
just play it. I need to care. You
Yeah.
know, I'm liking the characters, partly.
Yes.
Like Ezra, okay, I kind of want to see what happens with him. He's still annoying, but at least
Kind of like Luke is annoying, or Anakin's annoying at
yeah,
first, right?
Anakin, you know.
It's like,
You're like, he's
Why
gonna
not?
become Darth Vader, but wow, that's annoying.
Kanan has
Whining
got to
kid.
stop being so plain. So
So
he
strict.
needs to get more dimensional. He needs to get something going. Hera's okay because she's like kind of the den mother, and she every once in a while does, but then it's like the stereotypical, well, every once in a while she's got to throw a punch to show that she's
Right.
a tough girl, you
Just
know,
so
she's in
a
charge.
bad girl, yeah.
It's like, no, let's do more than that.
Yeah.
Zeb hasn't done anything for me yet. He's I think got, again, as with all these characters, a boatload of potential, but just nothing happening
Nothing's
with it.
there, yeah.
Sabine, I don't know much about her. I mean, she's
Yeah.
a girl who walks around in a splatter painted Mando outfit. It's
That
not
likes
even
to
that's-
spray paint
that likes to
things.
spray paint things,
Yeah.
and it's like
Use
I don't
explosive spray paint.
feel like these characters have much yet for me to grasp onto. I do see them setting up story elements.
Yeah.
It's like they're bypassing the characters to set up story segments and story moments that hopefully are going to pay off down the road. You know, that the what happened to his parents and the kid who's, you know, going away now to another area, and we saw him with the Inquisitor, and you know, all the kind of things that are going on, I'm hoping are going to eventually pay off.
Right.
But it is so hard. I don't want to get people to wait that long. You got to give them stuff now, and it just feels like that's the stuff they're not giving.
Oh,
They're not paying attention.
The stuff that they're giving you are these stupid little cameos that they're throwing
Right.
in.
Yeah, and every episode is kind of like a one. I mean, I don't.
It's a one-off,
I don't
yeah.
want to see super long story arcs that go like 8-10 episodes. But and I'm not saying two-parters, but I feel like every single one of them is so unconnected to the other ones.
Clone Wars did this, didn't they? They did like sometimes they did at least a 5-episode story.
Well,
arc.
one of their longer ones was 5 episodes. They do 2 or 3 part
Yeah.
arcs. But one of the things I liked about Clone Wars is even when they set up one of those 2 or 3 point arcs, they'd actually bring back, like previously on the Clone Wars, and they'd cover something that was covered 5 episodes ago
Right.
that played into that episode.
Yeah.
And that's what we're missing here. Like I told you guys when we first started this, I'm missing that story type entrance they had at the Clone Wars because they
Previously on-
set up the storyline
Yeah.
that way.
Because they're not connected. These
Well, that's what I'm saying.
These Rebel episodes are not connected
Right.
with one another.
Okay,
That's
let me
what I'm
ask
saying.
you.
The Clone
Let me
Wars forced that connection by
Right.
doing that.
let me ask you guys a serious question. Take the lightsabers out of this show.
Yeah.
Take mentions of the Force out of this show. Change the stormtrooper costumes. Leave
Okay.
everything else. Would you feel like this is Star Wars?
No.
That's the problem.
However,
Yeah.
you would also have to change the character
It's
Hera.
it's-
she's Twi'lek.
It feels like almost like a bad version of Robotech. I guess that's the best way I can
doesn't-
explain it.
it
You know what I
doesn't
mean?
feel
like
Star
a bad
Wars.
anime.
Not even that.
A bad anime. You know what I mean? It just
Not even.
yeah.
I've seen some bad animes that had some redeeming,
At least some storyline to it.
had
yeah.
some redeeming qualities.
Yeah.
To it.
It's just-
This thing that has nothing.
I mean, these guys don't seem to travel to too many. They're always
Yeah.
on
Lothal.
Lothal. They're not. It's Star Wars.
Yeah.
Travel. Show me exotic locations with amazing scenery. Show me gigantic set pieces.
I'll admit,
Give
I'm-
me a sense of a
I'm
larger
sick
universe.
of Lothal. I really am. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of Lothal. Let's go somewhere else. I mean, even the Star Wars movies move from planet to planet
Yeah.
to planet to
Well,
planet.
that's
We
the
weren't
thing.
stuck on
what makes it
Tatooine for the
interesting.
entire
These
first
are
movie.
rebels, right?
Yeah.
How come they haven't been found on Lothar yet?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know. It's like the Empire knows there's a temple there, or there's a.
Yeah.
It's like they get off that planet.
Right.
Get somewhere
Why
else.
wouldn't you be somewhere else? Yeah. I
Oh,
agree.
why did I think about
What
it?
I'd like to see is if this next episode with Tarkin in it, have him bring in a huge garrison or whatever and plant it right there on the planet.
and they gotta leave.
And force them off.
Yes.
Yeah.
Gotta leave
Let's
your home.
see if
Maybe
that
that's the
works.
moment they're
Maybe
setting
that
up.
is what
Maybe
they're
it's like,
setting up, yeah.
as it's Ezra's home, and he's gonna have that I've got to leave it and not come back moment, and maybe they're building towards that. But
So let
my
me
fear
ask
is they're
this.
not.
Do you think one of the problems, too, is character development? They
Oh,
just
yeah.
haven't done it yet?
I was going to say, what character development?
You don't care about
Yeah.
these characters enough.
So do you
yet.
think if they spent the whole season doing character development, like in that first season, would we have been able to buy into something better later on? Do you
Yeah.
think that would be the
I would-
fix here?
I think I'd like it a lot better.
Yeah. We have no backstories to any of them, do we?
No.
Really?
What we need to do.
I mean,
Ezra's backstory's a
Ezra-
question mark.
It's a question mark about his parents and
Right.
what they did and stuff.
Right. We've got a
Um,
question mark with Zeb because we know that they attacked his world. We don't know why.
And they
Other than
attacked it with,
they were like the
uh,
Wookiees. They were trying to
They
put
got
them-
wiped right out.
Right, they got
Completely
wiped out. Right. But we don't know much more about that. We
What-
know nothing about Sabine. We know
No,
nothing about
Sabine.
Hera.
No, nothing about Hera. We don't know anything. We know a little about
Relatively little about
Kanan, just because he
Kanan.
was a Jedi, but we
Right.
don't know why he ended up where he did.
Right.
It's almost like they looked at the Clone Wars. Everybody wanted to see Mandos.
So let's give them some man.
So we're going to throw them a Mando in this new show.
But it's got to appeal to women.
Well, it got to appeal to everybody.
Yeah,
Right.
it's got to appeal to. Well, it's also got to be like street art. That's cool. So
Yeah.
it's like it's being done by committee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We got to have at least 2 female characters in the show. At least 2.
Because we only had 1 in Clone Wars,
Right.
so we got to up it.
Because everybody's complaining that there's no female representation in Star Wars at all.
Right.
Well, yeah, but
Got to have Jedis.
Because
Master and Apprentice.
that's Star Wars.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean,
Star Wars.
You
You
can't
know?
have Star Wars.
Got to have a droid.
Right, because that's Star Wars.
Yeah, and let's have a big hairless dog.
Yeah. So, all right. I'm going to stop it there because I think we've said a lot. So, we'd love to hear what you have to say about this episode. Head on,
I'm depressed now.
head on over to GalaxyCast.com. Click on that comment box. Leave us some comments. Let us know what you think in the
and
upper
leave a
right-hand corner.
joke or something. Cheer us up.
Like, go ahead and slam the show. We don't mind with that. But then, leave a joke beyond that, too. Something
Please.
about rubber, preferably.
Yes.
Oh,
My
come
son would enjoy
on!
it.
Yeah, tell us your rubber experience.
Is that like your experience with Black Cock, too?
Yeah, really.
Okay.
I hear,
so-
nothing to
I
do
hear
with
you're
this.
a big fan of the black cock.
I am a big fan of the Black Cock, you man. Oh,
Yes,
man.
yes, he is.
Okay.
And
so,
we're getting
what?
hate mail now, so we
with
better
that,
cut
I'm
close.
going to
He
say,
likes his black cock.
as we always say here in the Star Production Studio,
May the force be with those who
listen.
And we're getting hate mail.
That's it. You're all fired.
See you next week.
I'm cutting your pay, which is 0, so I'm cutting
Oh my
nothing.
God, that means
so.
we owe.
We need to pay and then we come in. I'm getting
So
money.
that was our thoughts, folks, and it was an interesting episode. I'm sure you all had fun watching that. So let us know what you think.
I think
and,
we were more coherent last time at like when it was
at,
like
like, midnight.
11:30 to midnight.
than we were this time around. That episode almost put me to sleep. That was the sad part. So.
Any
It was,
friend
I'll tell
of
you,
mine-
it was a bad episode, and it just put us all in a bad mood.
It did, to a partial extent, yeah. And I was looking forward to this. So, all right, folks, we're
And
going to
any of
say
my
goodnight
friends
and
out there-
sign off.
Sayonara.
And Austin says hi to all his friends.
Video production. Woo!